So speaking of voting with your dollar here, we got to talk about Baldur's Gate.
Oh, yeah.
So the Golden Joystick Awards happened for 2023. Baldur's Gate 3 wins big as it takes home a record-breaking 7 awards. So let's take a look at all the Golden Joystick Award 2023 winners, shall we? I'm not going to go through all of them, of course, but this year's awards took place on Friday, November the 20th, and for the first time since 2019, it was in person again in London, as well as live streamed around the globe. The show, which is now in its 41st year, recognizes the talent present all across the video game industry. From those who create experiences that enrich our lives and transfix us during our downtime to those people who bring those characters and worlds to life, there are plenty of games and studios that deserve recognition each year. We received a record amount of votes this year, with you all coming out in your millions to pick your games of the year across over a dozen categories. This year, it's Larian Studios' Baldur's Gate 3 that's taken home the most awards, picking up a record-breaking 7 golden joysticks in total, including Game of the Year, and Larian itself taking home Studio of the Year. Here's the full list. So they won for Best Storytelling, Best Visual Design, Best Game Community, which is wild. That's awesome. PC Game of the Year, Game of the Year. And then they won a couple other things, of course. On the heels of this, we're finally getting some release information for Baldur's Gate 3 for Xbox. Now, I want to preface this a little bit. So, I'm pretty sure that Baldur's Gate 3 was supposed to release on Stadia. I think that Larian had an agreement with Stadia to release Baldur's Gate on Stadia. We all know what happened to Stadia. Stadia just shut down, right? It's no longer anything. It's just gone. So Larian, being the responsible company that they are, decided to reach out to Microsoft and was like, hey, can we get Baldur's Gate 3 on the Game Pass? Microsoft, as I quote, said, we're not taking a second-rate PC RPG onto the Game Pass. It won 7 golden. Yeah, that's what they told. That's what they told Larian. Yeah,
that's Microsoft's fault.
Yeah,
they've never heard of foresight, dude.
No.
Like foresight, dude.
No.
God, damn.
That might be one of the wildest statements made in gaming in the last few years.
Yeah.
Man, they are kicking themselves in the ass right now. There's no way. Like
Baldur's Gate 3, in my humble opinion, is one of the best games in a long time. And definitely one of the top RPGs played in
This was the quote. Xbox rejected having Baldur's Gate 3 on Game Pass, saying it was a, quote, second-run Stadia PC RPG. Yeah. Wow.
They didn't know.
It's very
they
wild.
Didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody in Microsoft was playing Baldur's Gate.
I hope whoever sent that email back to them is no longer working for Microsoft.
Yeah, right.
Because that's crazy.
Yeah. It is one of the best rated video games that's ever been released. It is one of the most...
Of all time.
Yes, it's one of the most played video games that's ever been on Steam. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Worth every dollar.
Yes.
Think about how many games are on Steam.
Yes. Exactly. Right. But Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox is nearly ready for its close-up. So after running into some certification issues bringing Baldur's Gate 3 to Microsoft's ecosystem, developer Larian Studios has announced that the popular D&D-based role-playing game is, quote-unquote, on track for a December release on Xbox consoles, a couple of months after its August the 3rd launch. What's more, the specific release date will be revealed early next month during the Game Awards. Right when the game came out, there were some challenges that held Larian Studios back from dropping Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox services, Xbox Series XS. I wonder what those challenges were. Probably an email from somebody that was like, "We don't want your second-rate Stadia RPG." But anyway. The team posted to its X/Twitter account on November the 15th to confirm that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to Xbox by the end of 2023, like Larian Studios had previously promised. A December release window was solidified, with the developers announcing that a world premiere trailer at next month's Game Awards will give us a final date for when Baldur's Gate 3 will hit Xbox consoles. Their tweet said, Xbox players, we hear you're looking for more news on Baldur's Gate 3. The game is on track for a December release. Larian Studios said, we'll see you at the Game Awards for the world premiere of the exact release date. With the Game Awards kicking off on December the 7th, this means we've got just a few weeks until we learn not only what game will earn the coveted Game of the Year trophy, which Baldur's Gate 3 is nominated for, along with other awards, but also when Larian Studios' extremely successful turn-based RPG will finally make its Xbox Series XS debut. On the heels of that, let's look at the nominees for Game of the Year here for the Game Awards, and let's go ahead and lock in our individual picks here. So for 2023 Game of the Year nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Who you guys picking?
I'm going Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Sure.
And Spider-Man looks really good.
It does look good.
Spider-Man has really good look.
I haven't played any of the other ones.
I've been looking at it.
The remake of Resident Evil 4, and I don't understand why that's even nominated.
Yeah.
Like, it was great fucking 20 years ago when they released.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it won its fucking awards. Let it be what it is. You know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Baldur's Gate 3 on that, which is wild because we've got Alan Wake 2, which is a sequel. And I mean, I've heard good things about the first Alan Wake game, but I've never played it. And I've heard good things about Alan Wake 2, but like, it's not generating that buzz.
If you like horror games, I'd recommend a playthrough of it, man. It's not bad.
Oh, I'll definitely give it a play.
It feels like you're in a fucking Stephen King mystery novel.
Okay, I'm down with that. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, they use the same engine that they used on Breath of the Wild. And that's not knocking Legend of Zelda at all, but a lot of people had said that Tears of the Kingdom felt like DLC, not in a bad way, but it feels like an extension, of Breath of the Wild as opposed to more of a sequel. I haven't played it, but I understand like why it's nominated, but also why it might not win. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I've heard good things, but I've also heard that the campaign's really short. So, Resident Evil 4 Remake, we hit on that one. I mean, of course, one of the highest rated games of all time is going to be, whenever it gets re-released, is going to be on here. Like, but it's wild that remakes are a contender for a Game of the Year award. You know what I mean?
Well, this because there hasn't been too many games that have just been like, oh wow, this game's so great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For all year.
And then Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which I've heard is a phenomenal Mario game.
It looks really good.
Yeah, but it's a 2D Mario game. It's a side-scrolling Mario
They got
game.
an elephant.
I know. So I think on this list of contenders, I think the one game that really has kind of broken the mold this year and like let people know, hey, you can still do turn-based games. Hey, you can still pull, concepts and ideas from tabletop games and incorporate them. Not every game has to be an action RPG. Not every game has to be a Skyrim. Not every game has to be a Fallout. You know what I mean? Like it really cements that like you can make RPGs, which indie studios have been doing for years, but no big AAA studios have really wanted to venture outside of that Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout kind of box that they've built.
The closest to Baldur's Gate 3 game that I would refer would be Dragon Age from BioWare. That is the closest to this adaptation that you're going to get.
Yeah. So I've been playing Baldur's Gate. I've really been enjoying it. I'm not super far into it, but I'm excited to play more of it. I mean, it's different. It's relaxing. Like, that's the thing about it. Like, there's a great story. Everything about it is phenomenal. Everything about it is great. But it's also so relaxing. Whenever you get into a combat, it's not this stressful, pulling your hair out type of situation. It's got a good flow. Like, it's good. And I think that everybody was ready for that. We've been playing shooting games and action games and all this stuff for the past 10 years. It's good to have something that you can just kind of sit back and not really unplug, but like not feel like the world's ending. You know what I mean?
You want to play the loot? Play the loot.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the question that I wanted to bring up. There was an article and I meant to drop it and I forgot about it, but the studio behind Knights of the Old Republic, they're not touching, and when I mean touching, they're not speaking or talking about or publicly acknowledging Knights of the Old Republic, because they said in the article they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. People want it to come out.
Yeah.
People want it to happen. They don't have an answer. They don't. Yeah. Here's my question. Knights of the Old Republic was based on 3rd edition D&D, right? Do you think if a studio really wanted to knuckle down, and would you guys prefer them to remake Knights of the Old Republic and use the D&D 5e backbone like Larian did with Baldur's Gate 3? Or do you feel like, let's leave the past in the past and let's continue forward with a turn-based, Star Wars type game like that? What do you think, Garbo? I know it's hard, right? I know
it is. Like if they would, oh my god, I don't know, man. The classes and everything are kind of like that. I would risk it for the biscuit. I mean, that would like give you more options for that, because like that turn-based in Old Republic, like you would have to there wasn't a wheel, so it was like, let me scroll through, let me press up and down until I get to the move set that I want to do, and like if they just turn those fundamentals into that style and then keep all the core elements like Baldur's Gate does, like engaging with people, the companions, and everything like that. Oh my god, yeah, I would risk it. I would tell them to risk it.
There's already a tabletop Star Wars game.
Yes, there is.
Base a lot of that playthrough on. And if they just use this engine, I think it would be really cool if they just made a new Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Like, let the past be the past if we're not going to, because it's been so back and forth. I would like to see it with new graphics, but at the same time, just give us a great new Star Wars game that is canon, that will stick with the story of what we know now, and just make it awesome with Baldur's Gate type gameplay. It could work so well.
Right. And I guess that leads to another question here. It's like, Knights of the Old Republic is no longer considered canon, right?
It's not, yeah.
So they could take a lot of the high points and a lot of the things from Knights of the Old Republic, the setting, some of the people, some of the villains. They could
even
work.
Revan, yeah.
Yeah, they could work with Lucasfilm, LucasArts, whoever.
Baloney.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And they could flesh out a really good and interesting story that would be like a modernized, updated take. It's like KOTOR is legacy stuff. It's not considered canon. But this new KOTOR has got the green light seal of approval from LucasArts and it's going to be canon, and it's going to be brought up with everything else. And here's some people that you may know, here's some people that you may not know, some people's personalities and things may have changed, but like, here's some of the familiar and here's some of the new, and this is going to be what it's going to be. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Were you talking about the articles? They're like 2 days ago.
yes.
All these articles were like, it's dead.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
They're done.
Because
I read one of those and they said there was a third party because Sony was going to publish it.
Right.
But there's a third party that's blocking some of the content. I think it's Disney.
Probably. Because it's not, I'm sure that it has something to do with it's not canon, and a lot of the stuff that they've been releasing recently is part of the canon of what's happening with Star Wars, whatever's happening with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That might be why they're blocking it. They may be wanting them to make massive changes to the story, and they're like, bro, we're just trying to update the game and bring it to a new generation of consoles. Like, we reinventing the wheel over here. Calm down. I think that they could pull a system like D&D. They could pull a tabletop system and incorporate it, and I would love that. Like, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I think it'll be. I think it'll be worth it.
It would probably rate higher than Baldur's Gate. Like, sad to say, but it may.
I mean,
Well, it would, because you would have this amazing gameplay from Baldur's Gate. If they have decent writers, you'd have a great storyline. But you have that core Star Wars fan base that's going to buy anything that's Star Wars.
Yes.
and like,
Anything.
dude, if they can just do a fresh Knights of the Old Republic, they can just implement so many more classes and races that they didn't do from the previous games. Like, you could be like Darth Maul's character, or I don't know all the names to them, but or like a Twi'lek. I mean, dude, could you imagine being a Wookiee?
Yes.
A
I
Wookiee,
can.
a
That would
Twi'lek,
be
a
cool.
Yeah,
Dathomirian.
Yeah.
yeah, like that would be so cool. And then like you can go like different routes. Like maybe you don't have to be a Jedi. Like maybe you could do an actual smuggler route where you're just only pistols or something. Like that would just be unique, like, and I know they kind of like did that in the other ones, but like your main character himself was always becoming a Jedi. What if you didn't want to be that?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that would be nice. You could just say no to the joining the Jedi Order and be
Yeah,
whatever the fuck
what
you
if
wanted
you-
to be.
Well, with Baldur's Gate, you can have like different backgrounds. What if your class was like being a bounty hunter, or like you were a scavenger, or yeah, man. I think that would just be so cool. Yeah, and it'd be really good. Yeah, like again, how Baldur's Gate has so many different types of classes and subclasses. Like, what if you can dabble into that a little bit, like become like a Jedi / bounty hunter, or a
If the developer
gunslinger,
wants to take these ideas, we just made you $1 billion.
Yeah.
dude.
I mean,
So much.
my question is, I've heard rumors. I don't know if this has been officially confirmed, but I've heard rumors that Baldur's Gate, that Larian wants to open Baldur's Gate 3 up to the modding community, specifically on Steam. I'm not sure how that would translate over to the consoles, but someone could make a Star Wars-esque game with a mod that way, and as a proof of concept. Like there's ways around that where they could do that if they really wanted to invest the time into doing something like that. So I'm sure something will come of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna ask, I got 2 more questions here. First question is for Dirt. We've all played Baldur's Gate. Any interest whatsoever?
I get involved.
It's a rowdy experience, especially when you're playing with people. Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah,
you
because
said
like,
earlier it was
they can
chill.
dictate what happens when you're not. Like you could be talking to one person, they could be sabotaging you with another.
Yeah. Well,
You don't even know it.
Because I like the sound of chill
no, it's chill, but like, here's the thing though.
after playing the final.
Whenever you've got somebody in your party that like starts a civil war while you're in the middle of a conversation with somebody, and then all of a sudden you're just getting attacked by 5 different people, then it's like, what is happening right now? But like, you know, when that's not happening, like that was after the save. Let's not get out of hand here. That was, I saved the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
now
way
we're gonna stand up for
it's
him.
not canon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not canon in the playthrough. But it is a chill, fun experience, and hopefully they will include crossplay and cross progression at some point in the future.
Thought it had it.
Well, no,
Oh,
Not yet.
not yet.
Oh, but when it does, we're
But-
running a run, right? We're doing a campaign run.
We're doing an evil campaign where we kill everybody.
Okay, I mean,
mean,
sure.
I'm with it.
So,
I'll be a cleric of Shar.
I mean, why not? You know. But with us, with me and Corey and Garbo playing Baldur's Gate 3, what do you guys? And I'm going to direct this at Corey first. What do you guys hope that Larian does moving forward with the property? Like, let's put like cross-play, cross-progression that off to the side. As far as just bringing content to the game, what do you guys hope that they end up doing with it?
I would like to see some new class, or not class, race choices.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some background choices, things that you would get from like expansion books and new spells. Just I don't even care if they do a new like side storyline or anything like that as a downloadable. It would just be nice to have some more things within the game to play around with.
Yes.
Maybe a couple more classes as well. They might have more outside of that. I don't know, some subclasses and things. That'd be pretty dope.
Yes. 'Cause they have, it does seem, just from me looking through the character creation stuff earlier, most of the core classes are there. I think they're missing Artificer. But a lot of the
Yeah.
subclass options are limited to only 3 subclasses per class.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like
Yep.
Paladin, there's like 10 or 12 subclasses available in all the books. There's Fighter's got like 7, you know, Rogue has a ton. So I don't think it would be too hard, because I mean, they're class specific things that you're getting. A lot of the spell stuff is crossover content, and of course, they could expand that spell list from Tasha's and Xanathar's and, you know, any of those other books. But I think that they could easily do that and make the game. It already has incredible replay value, but they could quadruple it just by adding a couple of subclasses, classes, and races in there. You know.
Yeah, you add a turtle, the owl people, even
Yeah.
like things like kobold, or considering how big of a deal that goblins are so early on in the game,
I
it'd be
was
nice
about
to
to
be able
say
to
a
play as a goblin.
Yeah, that would be insane,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
What do you think,
It's like
Garbo?
you start the whole act just dealing with goblins.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all were pretty much hitting the park. Like, I agree. I was going to say the same thing. Like, I feel like it could add a couple more classes because, yeah, man, Dirt has to be Turtle Man, dude. Like, for one.
Dude, an evil campaign
have
where
Turtle
we all play Ninja Turtles? Dude.
Dude.
Throwing our magic rocks.
Every one
know.
of us is monk tortoises.
And we just roll
Throwing
up and
rocks.
roll out, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so down.
But I am. I'm in the same boat. Like, I feel like there should be some classes. I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not very knowledgeable in D&D, and like Baldur's Gate is like the freshest and closest to me understanding D&D. Like, I didn't even know like the whole like subclasses, that there's more than what they offer and everything. But, and I haven't completed the whole story either. But I mean, like I said, that's all I could really say. 'Cause, again, the game itself is really good. I mean, as long as they can just keep the story going, maybe add more story, maybe add a really solid, like, they don't have to add a DLC, you know, but that could be something in the future.
Yeah. I would like to see them do that. And I think that they will. I mean, with the success that the game has had, there's no way that they're not going to be releasing some cool stuff. And who knows, like they may venture outside of the Faerun setting. They may decide to go to Spelljammer. They may decide to go to Planescape. Like the Planescape book just released like a couple of days ago at this point, and it's a lot of people are jumping on that, and it's kind of popular right now. So they may decide to do something with that. Like there's a lot of different things that they could pull from and a lot of different inspirations, and they could realistically keep Baldur's Gate 3 running for the next 5 years, releasing consistent updates and content to it.
Stories.
Yes, and make it a mega game, you know, so.
Yeah. And then add every little thing that they add in the books, like if they have additional classes or subclasses or, whatever brews that they got going on. Creatures.
Yeah.
Bosses. I mean, there's just so much that they could just do off of that. I mean, they got a lot of potential.
Yes.
And just the game expansion alone, like they only went one story. They didn't even like branch out in the multiple stories.
Right. And I haven't played through it yet either, but at the beginning of the game you go into hell, right? Does that come back up again?
No.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
you go back to the hell of Avernus.
Zariel's not going to be happy. Yeah, like
there's you don't there. I mean, there's a moment where you do go back to the hells, but it's just like one house in the hells.
Right.
Raphael's house is one.
So I mean, they could do so much with it, and I'm excited for the future, and I'm happy that this game released and it got the kind of reception that it did, because not only is it turning people on to like the way that a lot of Western RPGs were created in the 90s and early 2000s, but it's also turning people on to the idea of actually playing a tabletop role-playing game, which is an incredible experience if you haven't done it. So it's good all the way around, When the tide rises, it brings all ships up, right? So, but that's everything that I have for this episode of Foreplay. If you guys want to reach out to us, you can hit us up on Twitter at ForePlayPods. You can shoot us an email, foreplaypods@gmail.com, or you can join the Discord. There is a section called hold on, what's it called? Foreplay hookup. Okay. In the Foreplay hookup, we're not actually hooking up in there. You're hooking us up with content that you want to see us cover on the Foreplay podcast. Keep that in mind. Any illicit things happening in the Foreplay hookup will be deleted promptly. So please don't actually try to hook up with people in the Foreplay hookup. But for this episode, I'm here with Co Reed.
I'm here with Dirt Lord.
I'm here with Garbo.
And I'm here with Griffin.
And thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching, and keep playing games, guys. Have a good one.